Hey, I'm Jason King, a Tantra teacher and somatic sex educator.
And I'm Simon Magnus. I'm an intimacy, kink, and play coach and facilitator.
And we're offering this one-day immersive workshop, Beyond the Rush, all about how to slow down in our intimate encounters and all of the incredible gifts that brings us. Mm-hmm. And Simon, I know this has been a big theme for both of us. I'm curious, what has been your exploration in slowing down in your sex?
I think what my sexuality used to be was very, I wouldn't call it goal orientated because I was never that kind of moving desperately towards orgasm, but I was very into like heightened pleasure and wanting that. And if I wasn't getting that feeling, then I was thinking that there was something wrong. Or if the other person wasn't having that feeling, I was thinking there was something wrong. And it would almost create a sense of panic in me if we were not having that level of intense experience, if we were not really riding those waves and this was going to be the most exciting, incredible, adventurous sexual experience, then it wasn't enough. But I would often come away realizing that I was doing the same things each time. And that actually it works and it was fun to play in that. But actually it started to get a little bit boring and a little bit predictable. And it became less and less about the person that I was with and more about the thrill of the feeling, of the pleasure that was in there. And in that actually became less pleasurable. And when I learnt to like really slow down into each sensation, into each moment, the intimacy grew and the connection grew, but I also got access to so much more feeling, to so much more that could actually be explored and experienced in the moment that I actually don't think I really knew was there. Because in a way it felt too vulnerable. It felt too vulnerable to allow myself to open up like that. And I know that this is an experience you've had, like around kind of vulnerability and slowing down.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit of a seducer. And so much of sex for me has been about the connection with the other person, but then kind of constantly reading and checking, like, do they still want me? Do they like this? Are they into this? How can I give them a really good experience? And it led to a sort of performing sex, which, don't get me wrong, was fun. Like, I really enjoyed it. But I was so focused on my partner that I wasn't actually feeling so much pleasure in my own body. I was more into what's happening here. And when I started slowing down more, I realized, like, oh, actually, I have so much pleasure in my body. But it's taken a lot of practice to give myself permission to enjoy that. You know, especially like if I'm bottoming a lot, I make it so much about giving my partner pleasure. Oh, wow. And it was a huge shift to really allow myself to feel all of that. And I'm a very sensitive person. And so, as you said, like when I did that, it brought my focus back into my body. And I realized, oh my God, there's all these emotions that I'm having that I wasn't like fully aware of before. And like, fuck, that's kind of scary. And that also intensified the experience even more. Yeah.
You talk of intensity, and like sometimes intensity can feel too intense. The idea of intensity can feel like, oh, this is already a lot. I'm already like, why would I want to, like, in this sex experience, I'm already trying to hold so much, and I spend a lot of time in my head thinking about how I'm going to bring more pleasure, thinking about these things, and that can have a sense of intensity. But actually what I've learned is when I slowed down, I've got more control over the intensity. I've got more control over my boundaries and how I'm engaging with the other human being, which actually increases the pleasure because I'm no longer in my head worrying about, is this too much? Am I going to get lost? Am I losing control? Is the other person? All of this shit. like I'm much more in the experience for both me and my partner, and I'm much more creative. Yeah. And like I think creativity gets so underrated when it comes to sexuality, because it's fun and thrilling to be in the connection with the other person and in the creativity of that connection. But it can, again, it goes back to the vulnerability piece. And if we learn to slow down and intensify intentionally what's happening in our bodies, it opens up something very different.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been, I think, very good at having, like, hot sex and, like, figuring out how to make the scene hotter. And something I often really struggled with was actually feeling a sense of friendliness with the guys who I was playing with, because having this intense sexual charge, we could just like amp that up more and more, but then I would leave and it's like, oh, I don't actually feel like I know that person at all outside of this one expression. And when I started slowing down more, I found like just a really sweet sense of friendliness emerging, because it doesn't all have to be super intense all the time. And so it brought in like more depth, more range. And this is where that sense of fulfillment, I think, came from, or satisfaction, that like, oh, I didn't just have a hot encounter that got me off, because I could also just look at porn and wank, but I actually felt a connection to this person in a human way. And that is what feels satisfying at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think this is why when we started really talking about this is where this day came from, of like, how do we bring to our community the things that we've been learning around slowing down, the imprints, the new reference points about how to slow down and get more out of our sexual expression. And that's what Sex Beyond the Rush is about. It's about giving you some tools, taking you through an immersive experience that gives you new reference points in your system that you can then use beyond the day itself. And also, if you're someone that really loves to slow down, being in a space that I've just got full permission to play in the slowness, and that everyone else is playing in the slowness.
Yeah.
Like there's a juiciness in being able to spend time in a day doing this. And doing something very different and beautiful. We're actually having a live musician with us for the entire day, which feels very exciting, because he's going to be creating a full soundscape that takes us in and on a journey which is completely responsive to where we're at and the moments that we're going with. And I think that's going to create a whole new level of juiciness that we've never actually been able to explore before.
Yeah, one of the conversations I have a lot with men, especially with men I've played with, is, I know a lot of gay guys who really know what they like. They know what turns them on. They may have spent a long time kind of finding the thing that turns them on. And what I hear from a lot of men is there's a sort of, this is what I like. I don't like anything outside of that. And this is just the way it is. And what I found, because I was also like that, I had a pretty narrow thing that I was really into. I was really good at getting that thing. It turned me on. But when I started slowing down, I found, oh, there's actually these other ways of being erotic that maybe aren't so like hyper intense at the beginning, but then bring this deeper layer of connection, satisfaction, authenticity, playfulness, not needing to take everything so seriously. And at first I felt, oh, this isn't as exciting. This doesn't actually like just immediately flip my Eros into gear. But when I learned how to explore and expand that, it gave me so much more choice. And so it's like, yeah, I can do the things that are like really fucking hot and kinky for me and turn me on, and fuck yes, let's do that. And I can also have connection that feels really satisfying and, dare I say, wholesome, which I think so many of us really, really want, but maybe feel that's just not available in the things that turn me on.
And I think when we're talking about connection here, we're not talking about the love of your life or the person that you're going to be with forever or kind of a strong attachment figure. It can be that, and like slowing down and having these tools within a long relationship or a short relationship are beautiful. But connection can just be something that happens in the moment. You can have one evening or 1 hour with someone that can feel so much more and so much more fulfilling and so much more what you're actually looking for, and less like you're just offshooting, less like you're just releasing pressure. And that can feel like you're actually getting much more what your system needs, and also learning, what does my system need? Because actually a lot of the time I will go into distraction around sex or certain other ways that I will use sexuality that isn't actually about sex. And how do I step a bit more into me, my pleasure? What do I want to get beyond the distraction, beyond the removal of awkwardness or procrastination or whatever that might be?
Beautiful.
So we're here for you. If you're touched, if you're excited, then come along. We will be here in April.
Hope to see you there.
Hope to see you there.